Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a bit of a deep dive into a very far-fetched theory, but one that actually makes a lot of sense and had me thinking. Now, this theory isn't mine. This came from my friend Mitch Dostine. You guys remember Dash Star from the way beginning, one of the most OG Star Wars YouTubers. He now has a channel called Dark Lord Dash, where he covers like Diablo and stuff like that. But anyways, me and him are buddies. We've been buddies for many years. And he hit me up with this message. And it's this photo of the mural in Rebels of Kanan, Zeb, Hera, Ezra, Sabine, Chopper. And next to them are two Loth wolves. But what really caught my eye, what caught Dash's eye, is that one is white and one is dark. Now, Shin Hati and Baylan Skoll. In Norse mythology, Skoll and Hati, these are the names of the two wolves. If you guys played God of War Ragnarok, you will also remember the story of the wolves. These are the wolves that chase the moon and the sun. And it's kind of like this cyclical cycle where you can, in the game, you can like change from night to day. But essentially in the mythology, these wolves are chasing the light and the dark. Now, Baylan Skoll is the light wolf. Skoll is the name of the light wolf. Hati is the name of the dark wolf. And so this, in my opinion, makes me think that, well, what's with all the wolf stuff? Like, are Shin Hati and Baylan Skoll just wolves that transformed? Or were they always the wolves that were in Rebels the whole time? And maybe nightsister Elsbeth put a curse on them or change them into some sort of a human or a wolf whenever they want. Maybe they can transform. Maybe there's much more to the story that we don't know. My thinking is, why is their last names the names of these wolves that are light and dark, chasing the sun and moon? And then we get in the mural this whole time, it's a light wolf symbolizing, chasing the sun perhaps, and a dark wolf symbolizing chasing the moon, chasing the night. Have they been in the story this entire time? Now, there's much more to this theory here that Dash presented me with. Now, right here, in Norse mythology, it says Skoll is a wolf that, according to Snorri Sturluson's Prose Edda, chases the sun riding her chariot across the sky. Hati chases the moon during the night. Skoll and Hati are the sons of the wolf Fenrir, an unnamed giantess. Now, in the game, of course, you do meet Fenrir, but we're not going to talk about God of War Ragnarok, my favorite game of all time, and God of War 4. However, we are going to discuss the fact that there's also something else that's really interesting, and it comes with the Marrok character. Now, in Norse mythology, Marrok actually means, and I'm going to read this directly off Google, Marrok happened to be one of the Knights of the Round Table, serving as King Arthur's bodyguard. Marrok was also described in Le Morte d'Arthur, the poem that chronicled Arthurian legend as the Good Knight. That was betrayed by his wife, for she made him 7 years a werewolf. Dude, Marrok is all covered in clad, like ironclad, black. We don't even see like what color his skin or anything is. Is he a transforming wolf? I mean, Dave Filoni's got like this crazy obsession with wolves, and we can clearly see that with the Loth wolves in the mural. We can see that with the last names of Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. And then now we see it with Marrok, who is a dude who got betrayed by his wife, who turned him into a werewolf. Like, dude, there's so many wolves in this in this story. It's like it's making me wonder, is it just because he's fascinated with wolves and that's really it, and makes us kind of deep dive into a lot of different theories that completely are irrelevant? Or is it because there actually is a lot to this? I mean, we have a story that there's a nightsister who does magic, and maybe she bewitched this Marrok dude, and he is also a wolf at the same time. Maybe he'll end up turning, and maybe he's Ezra. Maybe he is actually Ezra this whole time. And that would kind of make sense as to why when he was flying through the Purgil, he was like having some sort of a reaction and shaking his head. I mean, a lot of you guys mentioned that too in the watch party. And I just don't think it's Ezra. I would just think it's like super weird. Like, how? First of all, how did they get Ezra out and not Thrawn? I don't think it's Ezra, okay? I think it's got to be an apprentice of Darth Vader or something like that. I think that would make it much cooler. But you can't help but think to yourself that maybe there's much more to this that we don't know. Maybe this Marrok character is actually bewitched, and Elsbeth turned him into a werewolf, or will turn him into a werewolf. Or perhaps he was a werewolf and then he just like, turned into this guy now. Maybe he's still a werewolf. I don't know. Who knows? He's, no idea. So my question to you guys is, Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati, the light side wolf and the dark side wolf. Shin Hati most likely will remain in the dark side and maybe go full dark and have that red crimson lightsaber. Maybe Baylan Skoll will actually turn to the light. And this is a theory I had in a previous video where I do think that he has a lot of conflict within him. When he talks about having to kill Ahsoka, he has a lot of reservations. When he sends the HK droids to go and get Ahsoka and Sabine in the forest at the end of episode 3, you can see he's very conflicted. He's looking to the side and he just doesn't really know what to make of the situation. He doesn't want to do this, but he feels like he has to because he's been ordered to. So is this mercenary for hire, who's a Jedi? It's kind of like a bounty hunter Jedi. Is he now going to kind of go on his own path and maybe deviate from the job set before him that he signed up for and his allegiance to maybe fight with Ahsoka? Is maybe perhaps he going to die or be betrayed by Elsbeth or something like that? And is Shin Hati going to fall further into the dark side because her master, who I also think is her dad, is dead? So could she be like a dark sider but fighting for the right reasons? We haven't seen that before. So there's going to be a lot of really interesting, I think, playability here with the Force and with Jedi and Sith. And, you know, I mean, we could have like, we have Ahsoka, which is kind of like in between, or her own thing. But then we could have Shin Hati, who could be very well dark side and even plunge her deeper into the dark side, but yet she fights for the good, in the name of good. It's a pretty wild theory, and I saw the actress who plays Shin Hati, I'm forgetting her name, but off the top of my head, you guys can let me know in the comments. But she said that this story, kind of like Shin Hati's character, sort of helps the watcher and the viewer, and this is what Dave Filoni was trying to do, to embody this sort of prism or this spectrum of the Force. That it's not so black and white, it's not just, you know, Jedi and Sith, that you could be kind of in between, and I think this is indicative of her orange lightsaber. But also, what came to me by making this video off the top of my head is the fact that she could actually be a dark sider, but then eventually fight for the right side of things. Kind of like Asajj Ventress, you know, and then she's like changed. I think there's a lot of potential with a lot of this. It makes you think, because it's like, why did Dave put so much of this wolf stuff in there? Despite being a fan, you got to kind of realize that, you know, the diehards are going to be theorizing about this. So big shout out to Mitch Dostine, my boy. Go check out his Dark Lore channel. Yeah, I mean, I think this theory is pretty freaking cool. It's pretty insane. So let me know what you guys think about it. I'm wondering if we're actually going to see any sort of like a werewolf transformation. Like, how would the fandom react to that in Star Wars? But we do have a witch now who does use spells and magic. So I guess we'll see. Anyways, thank you so much for watching today's video or for listening on Spotify or Apple iTunes. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always.